100% confirmation. Disney, Fox, they've agreed. Everything is a go between them. Now we just wait for the final approval to be, yes, the government says yes, and everything is good to go. X-Men, Fantastic Four, Deadpool, all in the MCU. Now, I made a video talking about this, and people were like, yeah, he's right, because this is how it happens also with other properties that have crossed over or changed hands between studios. Fox can now officially keep doing what they're doing, but Disney is allowed to already start planning how to introduce these characters. Like, they're allowed to start looking for people to write potential scripts because the two studios have agreed. So nothing's going to happen as soon as, like, Avengers 4. Probably not, but you could feasibly see that next year they're already going to have completed scripts and ready to go once the government says yes. So it's quite a big, improvement over what it was a couple months ago.
So when do you think this is going to be done by? Because what are the countries that still need to approve it? Is it the UK and like China?
That's apparently the big rumors that is those two, but there's no confirmation because they don't want to talk about it. So, because why would governments want to say what they're doing?
That's true. I'll go kick Theresa May in the ass or something. That way. But no, it's because the way they've been moving, I can see it being done by the end of the year.
So that's what I've personally been told is that's what they're pushing for. Like when we first heard the rumors for Disney possibly buying Fox, I remember I made a video saying what my source told me is they want it done before Christmas because they want to go into the next year with the numbers rising up. So when the fiscal quarter ends in March, they could be at an all-time high. I was told that same thing again with this. They're pushing to have it done by fiscal quarter, which means by March of 2019, they're hoping it's going to get done in. Disney's feasibly going to go, fine, if someone turns it down, what can we toss out that gets it done by then? Because shareholders for both companies are going to massively gain if it's done by the end of the fiscal quarter. So that's what they're pushing for,
Yeah, and it all lines up with D23 next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
So they can announce whatever they have planned.
Well, I mean, we know what they've got planned. They've got the Eternals movie coming out. There's only one reason why they probably want an Eternals movie, and that's because that's a direct link to put mutants in there.
Yeah.
So, look, Celestials came down, they make Eternals, they make Deviants. Oh, look, this one guy called the Prober just made the X gene. Done.
Yeah.
And the Prober wasn't a joke, by the way. It actually was called the Prober.
That I know.
Just like, ugh.
Well, it's this thing where people are already... I've seen people speculating on what can happen. Just be real about this. Marvel is not suddenly going to just shift an entire movie to shoehorn in a lame Wolverine cameo into, like, Avengers 4. That would sacrifice the entire integrity of what they've been working for to, like, bend over backwards to these franchises that they didn't need to become the biggest franchise in the world. You're realistically going to get a Wolverine movie, a Fantastic Four movie, and an X-Men movie, and they're going to alternate between 3 years. So that's really what you're going to get, And it's like, is that bad? No, that's perfect. And you're probably getting the earliest one at 2022. So 3.5 years away, that's not bad at all. So
that's before the end of Phase 4, so I'm fine. Actually, what is the last Phase 4 date?
Is that technically... Is that...
Is it 2022 or is it 2023?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, so will you do that Ant-Man style where the last movies kick off to a new franchise? That kind of like Age of Ultron didn't end the last phase. It's like, no, it ends with Ant-Man. It's like, oh.
Even though I imagine Ant-Man will probably end Phase 4 as well.
Yeah.
Just to cap that trilogy off, but...
True. And we don't even know if they're technically, because they've said we're not necessarily going to call them phases anymore, but... They said that before they knew they were getting all these things. Now that they know, they're probably reshuffling.
Like, look at the DCEU. It's not called the DCEU. No one gives a shit. It's called the DCEU.
Yeah.
No, I don't care what Feige calls it. It's Phase 4. And we all know it's going to have the Fantastic Four logo. Why would you not do that? Mm-hmm. Like, you put the original Spider-Man music at the start of that movie, you're going to do something like that.
Right. Yeah, it's one of these things where it's a long time coming, right? And as much as I want them here soon, that little, like, skeptical piece of me is like, oh no, because I'm worried that, it's the old age thing where we never would have gotten Guardians and Ant-Man if they would have owned some of these characters like Fantastic Four, because they could have gone cosmic with them. And guaranteed we're getting Doctor Doom. Like, he's going to probably be an entire phase villain, which is going to be absolutely mind-blowing, but it's only a matter of time before it happens. And realistically, people keep saying it's probably going to happen something in Avengers 4. Maybe as a post-credit scene, they'll mention something, but you won't see anything, because the post-credit scene, they usually record them during the reshoots, which are only a couple months before release. So probably January, by the sound of it, is when they're doing more reshoots for Avengers 4. It is what it is.
But as a creator, would you actually want to put something like that at the end of that one? It's like, we've just finished this massive 10-year storyline. Here's the next one. It's like, let's breathe for a little bit. Maybe. Maybe set it up in the first film of Phase 4, not the...
See, the only thing I would want, and this is honestly how I would do it, this is like my fanboy thinking, there's nothing else, I would save it for Spider-Man Far From Home, and the post-credit scene, I would have Peter back in New York, and he goes, looks up at the Stark building, and has a 4 on it, and that's it. Like, that's what I would do. He just comes back, to New York, he's like, oh, what's changed while I was gone this entire summer? Looks up, and it's like, who the hell are those guys? Like, okay,
he just sees that and he goes, Baxter Building, what's that?
That's the thing. Would you have Baxter on it, or would you put a 4 on it? Because if you put the 4 on it, you've established that they're already there. But then you can, in their movie, you can go, well, it's the start of it takes place before.
Set it during the same time as Spider-Man's out of New York. Kind of explains why it's not there. That would be kind of cool.
Or would you just slap Baxter on it and go, look, they do exist here. We'll get to it in a minute.
I mean, they did it with Ant-Man. Why not? Honestly, why not?
What the... what you mean, like the Hank Pym stuff?
Hank Pym. He was in freaking doing things in the 60s and 70s and 80s and even in the 90s. You're like, what? Oh, well, you didn't need it explained. All right, cool. Like, maybe I'd be okay with it.
I'd love to go back to that era, though. Let me see Hank Pym, but I'm fine with it. But going back to what you were saying about maybe not having like the smaller properties that people don't know about, like I don't know, like I don't think they'd want to just ram X-Men and everything down your face. So, we have X-Men back now. Here's 5 X-Men movies. I don't think they'd want to take that route. So I think they like having their little smaller properties to make big, and like in Eternals, I still think that's coming whether they get X-Men.
But also, wouldn't that be kind of just like stuffing your face with dessert after you just had dinner, and you're just like, that might be a little bit too much. Like, maybe wait a little bit more, and then you can stuff your face.
And it's like, yes, they moved the entire Phase 3 slate around when they got the Spider-Man deal done, but they didn't really, they haven't. Yes, he's been in like every film since then, but it's not like his 6 Spider-Man films.
Yeah,
it's just like we're going to do the Eternals. We got a Black Widow movie coming out.
Because just looking at it realistically, there is no way Wolverine does not get a standalone movie. That is the biggest mutant they own, and he totally is going to get a trilogy because it's goddamn Wolverine. Like that's a big name now, especially like how much X-Men the movies currently have made him so prevalent. That gets its own thing. X-Men gets its own things. Fantastic Four, Deadpool. They'll probably do something else. X-Force will probably be its own thing on the side. I could realistically see them even like gold mining some obscure thing and making that a franchise from that universe,
Alpha Flight, do that.
Oh, yes. Well, Captain Marvel could introduce Alpha Flight. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's true. True.
Introduce that whole universe with stuff you already have anyway. So, like, you're in a good position. We'll see.
Yeah, it's
also another thing for an Eternals movie. You can do Apocalypse, right? You just have like celestial tech in Egypt. Done.
Stop! I can only get so hard. Oh my god!
Oh man, it's gonna be so good in the coming years. We're gonna learn more. I wish Marvel still did those. I remember they did it once and they never did it again. But I still, when they did that little Apple kind of showcase in 2014.
Joe, do you want to know why they haven't done it since?
No, but
because we haven't finished the amount of movies that they announced then.
Yeah, but also you heard I said no, right?
No, I didn't hear you say no.
I always loved that little showcase. I remember specifically. I thought it was also fun for the people who were able to go.
Yeah.
I know there's some video like from people from the audience. I think they even told you take out your videos. You know, this is going to be on social media. So I thought that was, and then they brought out, I think, Chadwick Boseman was, and then he had a little fighting pose, with, Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. I thought that was a great thing. And whether they do it again after they finish the movies they announced, that'd be cool.
Just to realistically think about it, they're probably going to announce that same thing, but it's going to be at D23 next year because
they're going to do their own panel at D23.
Yeah. And that's probably when they're going to be like, hey, look, we wrapped up the phase. You guys just have Spider-Man, and right now he's hitting worldwide. Let us tell you what we've been working on, which you probably know. Pop up the logos, and then go, let us tell you the next 5 years. And that's when they pop up the 4, the X-Men, the Wolverine, everything. And people are just like, that's going to be their big, breakout moment again to set the stage for what's coming.
Was D23 the first time we saw Infinity War footage? I mean, not us, per se.
No.
I think was
was it?
The people there. I swear that I heard.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was the Infinity War. I mean, D23 was the first time. I swear I remember it specifically that happened. And in San Diego, there was more of it because it was more finished. And then, of course, like that.
The kind of interesting thing that when you're looking at D23 and San Diego Comic-Con, Disney's kind of been pulling back from San Diego more and more, but D23 next year is after San Diego Comic-Con. It's end of August next year. It's not before SDCC. So realistically, I think they could go to San Diego. They're probably going to have a giant celebration of what's happened, and then they're going to hype up being like, hey guys, in a month, go to our show because that's where all the announcements are, because that's when they're also planning on opening the giant Star Wars land and the Marvel reconstruction they're doing. It just makes so much sense to do it because D23 is for Disney people, Marvel people now. It's like it's their big stage, and by then, regardless of what happens, the deal will be done. So make your big announcement,
Yeah, and usually at D23 you can get tickets, but if they're going to do it like this, you're probably not going to be able to get into the hall anymore.
Yeah.
You can,
you can
usually just go there the day of and get a ticket.
I think it is still, there's fan stuff, but it is majority press, isn't it? If I remember correctly.
No, it's its own little con.
I thought it was majority press, and you could get tickets, but like E3, it's mostly the press people who end up in the halls, right?
No, it's more for the fans. You can
I don't know too much about D23, so I'm asking a lot.
Yeah,
I mean it's no different to Hall H in Comic Con. You get the press people can just walk in, but the fans back in.
Just saying D23 is more for the fans because it was like created in a way for people who were fans of Disney to get extra incentives for their passing or being an annual member and such like that.
Right.
Cool.
That was our Disney acquires Fox talk. We finally did it, so thanks guys for bugging us all week to do it. Here it is. That was it. The future of DC Comics